So, Ginger.
Yeah?
You know how we wanted to start a podcast, but we were having trouble coming up with a topic?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my pitch. The topic of the podcast is us trying to come up with the topic for the podcast.
What? Like we pitch each other podcast ideas and that's the podcast?
Yeah, exactly. We could call it, What Should Our Podcast Be About?
Miles, that's really stupid. Let's do it.
What should this song be about? I'm trying to figure it out. What should this song be about? Could you perhaps help me out? I've had a moment of doubt. What should this song be about? Welcome to What Should Our Podcast Be About? The podcast where we try to figure out what this podcast that you're listening to right now should be about. I'm Miles Grover.
And I'm Ginger Brown.
I have one shocking update from last time. Scandalous.
Okay.
Last time I talked about the movie Shallow Hal. We were talking about butts last time, as we sometimes do on this podcast. And I mentioned...
And in real life.
And in real life. And I mentioned Gwyneth Paltrow's butt in Shallow Hal being a nice one.
It's not her butt, is it?
It's a stunt butt.
I knew it.
I Googled it. I was like, yeah, that is a nice butt. And then I found like a BuzzFeed article. That was like one of those like slideshow things, you know, where it's like you have to click through to read all the things. But
yeah,
nobody looks at BuzzFeed anymore because the JavaScript for that is broken. So I actually had to dig in the stupid code to find the slide where it actually had the text and just read it in the code.
Wow, you were like determined.
Well, I was like, I read like a snippet of it on the Google search that was like, it was like that picture came up and it was like 10 times a celebrity had a stunt double or in a sex scene or something. So I just wanted to confirm that was what it was saying. Because, you know, sometimes they just have random pictures of stuff.
Right.
Or whatever. Right. And no other website seemed to be saying it or that I was finding easily. So I just was trying to confirm. Anyway, but it was not her butt.
Not her butt.
I cannot speak at all for the quality of Gwyneth Paltrow's butt. However, her stunt double in that movie had a nice butt. her butt double, I guess you would call it. That's all for that.
The more you know.
The more you know. Another butt going by, the shooting star.
The rainbow shooting out of the butt.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes. All right. Well, it sounded like you just had an idea. Do you want to get started and tell us about that idea you had a minute ago?
Oh, yeah. It's a good one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's this podcast, but we huff helium.
Okay. So we're talking like this the whole time or whatever.
Yeah. Like chipmunks.
Like Alvin chipmunks. Although I guess they were just sped up, right?
Yeah.
Do you think on that, when they recorded that like the voiceover or whatever work for that? Whoever was doing Alvin, Simon, and Theodore was like talking slow. And so that when they sped it up, it sounded somewhat normal.
No, I don't think that's how it worked at all.
Well, I mean, they didn't talk like, I mean, a little bit, but not like.
No, I think they probably, I think he probably it was just a normal voice. I think they just spliced it together.
No. It was the chipmunk voices were done by pitch shifting up by speeding it up.
No, I know that. But I don't think that the dad just talked really
Oh, no,
slow.
that's not what I meant. I didn't mean the dad. The dad, I'm sure, talked normal and they spliced it together like you said.
Okay.
I'm saying the people doing the voices of the chipmunks, did they have to talk kind of slow? Probably.
Oh, yeah.
So it didn't sound too
that
crazy
makes
fast.
sense.
Yeah.
What I thought you were suggesting is that the rest of them talked normally and the dad talked really slow so that his voice would sound normal.
Yeah, no, that's not what I was suggesting. Anyway, that's immaterial. One problem I can see with this idea is that there is a shortage worldwide ongoing of helium and we are running out of it.
Well,
but
we could just take people's balloons.
Okay, we just run up to people on the street and steal their balloons.
Children,
perhaps.
No. I mean, I like where your mind is, but I was more thinking we start like a balloon recycling business. Give us your balloons.
Okay. We could deploy a series of nets high up in the atmosphere for when children let go of their balloon accidentally and collect the balloons.
No. I was honestly just simply thinking people give us their balloons when they're done with them.
Yeah. If other people are anything like us, then they leave their balloons flying around their house for 6 months until they just run out of helium themselves.
Yeah.
We literally got rid of a balloon from Rory's birthday party, which was in November.
Last night.
Yeah. So,
which is why I had the idea, because
we
before
did
you
some
get rid of a
helium.
balloon,
Yep.
you got to suck out the helium.
Yep. True. Okay. Well, yeah. So if people give us their balloons, we'll have to hoard the balloons though, so we have enough every episode
Yeah.
to talk for an hour, because it doesn't last very long.
It doesn't have to be. This could be a shorter podcast,
That's true, I guess.
or it could be an hour-long podcast, and we could just speed it up. Then we wouldn't need any helium.
Okay, so you're saying we talk a little bit slow.
And the podcast will still end up being a half an hour, probably.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, I'm not sure how that speeding up thing, that pitch shifting thing works, because I do listen to our podcast on like 1.5 or even double speed sometimes. And it's not like really high or anything. Maybe the technology's just better for speeding it up now or something.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Or maybe you have to speed it up a lot.
Well, did that happen because it was actual like
tape or whatever?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. So like digital, probably it's done a little bit differently.
Maybe because with tape you would just have to wind it faster, but with digital maybe they just cut out little spaces or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, probably.
So we'd have to record it old school.
The other thing is that I'm fairly sure like stuff like auto-tune nowadays can just pitch you up without speeding it up or whatever.
Auto-tune the podcast.
Auto-tune the podcast. Except we wouldn't be allowed to use that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Because the Auto-tune the News guys had to change their name to not be Auto-tune the News anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did they?
Shmoyoho, they call it, the Gregory brothers, they call it Songify the News and stuff.
Why did they have to change it?
Auto-tune's a trademark, so I'm assuming that's why. Like auto-tune's a specific program, I think. And
It's
yeah.
capitalist bullshit.
Yeah, it is dumb, I actually don't know for sure that that's why they had to change it. It's possible that they just wanted to, differentiate their brand or something, or maybe there's another app they use that does the same thing but isn't auto-tune.
It seems like they probably had to, because like unless you're an idiot like Elon Musk, you don't usually throw brand recognition out the window.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and auto-tune the News does have a bit of a better ring than Songify the News.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So we could call it Chipmunkify the podcast or something.
Honestly, this is more time than I thought we would spend on this idea.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's this podcast right now. If you felt like that was too much time to spend on it, you could just speed it up and then we'll sound like chipmunks. All right. Should we move on to another idea?
Yes, probably.
Okay. So we have talked a number of times about how little sleep we get, and having insomnia and trying to go to sleep more. So I thought, what if we just have a podcast where we just take a nap on the podcast?
Okay, yeah, let's try that now.
A nap
Let's
podcast.
try that now. Except I've had some coffee. So
Yeah,
I had some coffee so I could record this.
I've had my
podcast.
amphetamines, so I'm probably not going down for a while.
You have insomnia. I have whatever the opposite of insomnia is.
Well, I don't think you have narcolepsy.
Yeah,
but
well, no, not full on narcolepsy, but like I could fall asleep. Like I could drink an entire cup of coffee and fall asleep still, and I have done that.
Well, that's the opposite of what you just said, that you couldn't take a nap because you just had coffee.
I gotta wait like a half hour.
Oh, okay.
I'm actively caffeinating right now.
Right, sure.
To make it through this experience. But yeah, I mean, I don't take Adderall anymore because I don't want to give our baby Adderall.
Right.
So coffee is all I have.
And you don't have a hard time getting to sleep.
I have a hard time not falling
falling
asleep most of the time.
Still, though, that could be improved by having a nap while we're doing the podcast.
I mean, I am certainly all for this idea.
If nothing else, we would find out like which one of us snores louder and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if we talk in our sleep.
I think it might have
like
been me in the past. Now that I've had my tonsils removed, I think you got a leg up in the snoring department.
Possibly. You definitely do snore. It's not usually too loud, but
yeah.
There's been times it has kept me awake. Not in quite a while, because again, I'm either not able to fall asleep or immediately asleep generally.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, you didn't snore too badly last night.
Oh, that's good. Anyway, so that's also more time than we really need to spend on this idea, probably. But that's one idea I had while I was falling asleep.
Would you like to hear another of my ideas?
Yes, I would love to.
Okay, I think I've maybe had an idea similar to this one.
Okay.
In the past. I don't think I've had this exact one.
Okay.
But I don't. Do we have a spreadsheet to check? If we do, I didn't check the spreadsheet.
We don't. I guess we could make one.
We should. That would be a good idea because I realized sometimes I'm not sure if I've already come up with an idea. But anyway, my idea was to review children's books.
We had an idea to review children's shows.
Right.
I think, and
I remembered
movies.
that one. I was like, I don't think we
know
did
if
books.
we've had books specifically. I
So
can't remember.
like
Actually, we might have, but that's okay. We can talk about it again.
the very hungry caterpillar.
Mm-hmm. We did talk quite a bit about brown bear, so we probably have something along these lines before. But
Like, I think repeatability is probably an important factor in children's books.
yeah, if they're fun to like read over and over again.
Yeah.
Fun for you because the child probably is going to want to read it over and over again regardless.
Critique the artwork.
Yeah,
Critique the storyline.
I actually was recently reading about how Eric Carle created his artwork in his books,
Oh yeah.
such as The Very Hungry Caterpillar and Brown Bear, What Do You See? You probably have noticed what the art looks like. He would take big sheets of tissue paper and paint colors on it, sort of like not randomly, but like with lots of different textures and stuff like that. And then they were all collages.
Yeah.
That's in the books. I think with some drawing on top of it as well. But
Yeah, that's pretty great.
yeah, I also saw a picture from like the original version of Brown Bear, and like the purple, like a picture of the purple cat from that. And the original version is like way lower quality drawing.
Really?
Yeah, which I thought is like, oh,
So they've cleaned it up over time?
he completely redid it.
Okay.
It's a completely different thing.
Is he still alive, Eric Carle?
I'm not sure.
There's an Eric Carle museum not too far from us.
Yeah,
I say not
which
too far, like hour and a half, I think.
Yeah, which we've mentioned before.
He passed away in 2021, apparently.
Oh, okay. So not too long ago. The original Purple Cat drawing is basically just a regular collage of like construction paper, like several different shades of purple construction paper cut out with then some pencil drawing on top of it. Versus, listener, if you don't remember what the Purple Cat looks like in Brown Bear, if you haven't seen it, it's vibrant, and the pieces are it's a collage, but all the pieces are like vibrant paint with different sort of texture and colors and stuff. And anyway, so we could talk about that, I guess, on a podcast like this.
I just remembered that the Very Busy Spider exists.
I don't think I know that one.
That was one of my favorites as a kid, and I can't believe I forgot about it.
That's another Eric Carle.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the one good thing about this capitalist hellhole that we live in, is that I remembered that existed, and I was like, all right, done, ordered. It will be here tomorrow.
Right, sure.
And the Very Busy Spider is very good. And it's really fun because it's got, you can feel the spider webs. That was always one of my favorite parts as a kid.
Okay.
They're raised. Anyway, this is the Very Busy Spider.
Oh, that looks familiar. Yeah. It's interesting though, because there's different editions of these books. Like the Brown Bear we have is just pages that you turn.
Yeah.
But I know there's a version where on each page there's a little window you can open that shows the next thing.
Yeah.
So hopefully that one that you got will have the raised spider webs and stuff that you expect.
Oh yeah, I hope so. Because I did order the board book.
Yeah. Because Rory will destroy even the board books, but anything less
he's gotten
than that,
better. He's not chewing on them quite as much.
He's not chewing on them quite as much, but he does like to flip it over and then pull the back cover like really hard, just break the spine.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a couple of books where he's like ripped the last page from the spine.
What is your favorite Eric Carle book?
I can't think of any more than what we've just talked about. I guess Very Hungry Caterpillar.
Yeah. Did you read that one as a kid?
I don't know, a little bit. I read it to Svetlana when she was little, which was, 10 years ago or whatever.
Yeah. My absolute favorite when I was a kid, I did love the Very Busy Spider, but my favorite was the Grouchy Ladybug.
Right. We've talked about that before as well.
In fact, that might be one of the best children's books out there.
Yeah. Because the Grouchy Ladybug just wants to fight everyone.
Just wants to fight everybody. And every time they agree to like fight him, he says, no, you're not big enough.
Yeah.
And eventually he runs into a whale. And I really loved it because there's a cutout of the whale's tail, so you get to like flip it so that the whale is like flinging the ladybug.
All right.
Like flaps its tail and whacks the ladybug. And then the ladybug eats some aphids at the end.
I don't actually remember any like little kid books from my childhood. I don't know if I am just not remembering or if I didn't get read a lot of these kind of books when I was a kid.
Oh.
Like I remember reading books myself as a preteen and teen and stuff. But I don't really have any memories that I can, at least that I can bring up right now, of reading this book. Like I didn't know Goodnight Moon before we got it for Svetlana, and I read that to her and stuff, And I don't know if I just missed it or what.
Oh yeah, my grandma definitely read us Goodnight Moon when I was a kid. I mean, reading has always been like a huge part of my life, very intentionally. My mom was very into reading books to me, so
yeah, it was a big part of my life when I could read. Like I read a lot as a kid.
Yeah,
a little bit older, but I do not remember if I got read too much when I was actually.
Yeah, what I mean is my mom was very intentional about making sure that books were a big part of my life.
Well, now that I think about it, actually, my mom did read to us, or to me at least, and probably to my two sisters at some point as well. But she definitely read to me. But she read The Hobbit to me and like Lord of the Rings and stuff.
Oh,
so that's what I remember her reading to me.
You had the attention span for that.
I don't know, not really, I guess, but I don't know. That's what I remember.
So yeah, book reviews.
Anyway, yeah, there is one book that Rory likes that we read fairly often that I really dislike, which is the
Charlie Harper's Alphabet.
Charlie Harper's Alphabet. And like, I don't know who Charlie Harper is. My sense of this book is that Charlie Harper was an artist who made these like weird drawings of animals that are like super geometric. Like the porcupine's like literally a square, and like they're all like very geometric, straight lines and perfect circular curves and stuff like that. My sense is that this book is like somebody took his drawings of animals and made a children's book as like a tribute to him or something. But I do not like it because I don't particularly like most of his drawings of animals. Like they're sort of interesting, some of them, but most of them I'm just like.
But Rory loves that book.
Yeah, Rory loves the book for some reason. And I also, whoever wrote the book, Zoe Burke or something like that, like they put the barest minimum of effort in for like a rhyming, like little sort of sing-song words to it. It's like, duck and dolphin.
Dog and dolphin, duck and dove, elephants and eagles all need love.
Right. So that like flows right there. But then it's like...
is this a pentameter complaint?
Well, not pentameter specifically. I haven't thought about what the meter is specifically, but it has no good meter in lots of parts of it. At the end, it's like, woodpecker, whales, many X's, just look, yellow warblers, zebras. Here's the end of this book.
Which I think is kind of funny, actually.
Well, but like it just doesn't flow at all. It's just like, and also like, I'm sure there's animals that start with an X.
So I think this idea has some legs.
It's somewhat. My point is just
it might just be Miles Grover yells at Cloud.
Yeah, my point is just that there are some that I don't like that we could, criticize or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, you have stronger opinions than I do. My meter for whether or not something is a good book is honestly like, how much does it delight Rory?
Mm-hmm.
And if he's obsessed with it, I feel like it's a good book.
Yeah, it's good for him, but if we have to read it over and over, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty obsessed with the alphabet, so that might be why he's...
Yeah, he loves letters.
All right, you got another idea for me?
I do. So a little bit along the lines of the last one. Actually, I have two that are sort of along the lines of this Taking a Nap podcast. One is a podcast where we try to come up with the most boring thing possible for our podcast to be. So
are we not doing that now?
Not exactly. Each week we are giving really boring ideas and talking about them and then trying to evaluate if they're the most boring yet or if we need to keep trying. So we have an episode about the history of the IRS. An episode about the flavor of water, right? Like we just try to come up with the most boring stuff. A podcast where we take a nap could be one of the things.
Okay.
So I thought we could just
A podcast where we watch paint dry.
paint dry is a classic. Podcast where we clip our toenails. Maybe that's more gross than boring. I mean, the audio wouldn't be very interesting, right? I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess maybe one problem with this is
I feel like that's the opposite of ASMR.
yeah. Well, one problem with this could be that it might be that the most boring podcast is literally silence
Yeah.
for an hour. Is that true? Are there things that are worse than nothing?
Well, yeah, there's things that are worse. So are you saying worse or most boring?
In terms of boring. Worse in terms of boringness, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, silence, like you can let your mind wander. Being distracted by something that's like so boring it's enraging, that's worse.
yeah.
Also, I do feel like guy reading the dictionary has already beat us to this idea.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is maybe a boring idea for a podcast, but this one isn't, where we do a different boring idea every week.
But we already came up with read the phone book.
Yeah, that would be a good idea for this podcast, which I guess is just a subset of our current podcast, because that's what most of my ideas are. A lot of times is the most boring podcast ideas. So I guess I'm just codifying it as a specific idea.
So you are codifying that you are boring.
I wouldn't listen to any of these podcasts.
I mean, I feel like we already kind of traffic in unlistenable podcasts, but
Right. Exactly.
But you want to like make that purely our brand.
It would be a very specific kind of unlistenable podcast, I guess. Maybe we can make it kind of a competition where we like are each trying to come up with the more boring idea for this week, and like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess to me it's funny to think about like the most boring ideas that could be a podcast.
Yeah. I mean, I do feel like we're already doing that a little bit, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and I guess we didn't really resolve the question of like, would there be anything more boring than just an hour of silence as a podcast? Like, is there something that could, I don't know, be less engaging than literally nothing?
I mean, it has to be something other than silence because that's it, not anything.
Well, yeah, quite literally. Like, I guess what I'm saying is maybe a flaw in this is we could just say, well, it's just silence.
Yeah.
And that would always win, maybe.
Yeah. Well, we can't count that.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess so. It has to be, we're contractually obligated in this fiction of the universe where we make this podcast. We're contractually obligated to put out some kind of podcast.
Yeah.
That can't just be silence, but we don't like being stuck in this contract. And so we're trying to sabotage it.
An anti-podcast.
The
producers of the podcast.
Right, the producers of podcasts, the anti-podcast.
Yeah.
Anti-podcast is interesting for a name for it.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to keep going with this idea. It was just an idea.
I have one more. Okay, so this is just a podcast where we discuss screen time and come up with creative ways to reduce our screen time.
Okay, I feel like that could be another idea for the boring podcast idea. Okay, so
it's really easy to use your phone a lot more than you think that you do, and I actually do want to reduce my screen time, so I'm kind of interested in this idea because I feel like it's really easy to just pick up your phone because you're bored. Maybe our podcast makes you do that.
Yeah.
And I mean, some of it is just like boring stuff like, okay, yeah, be more conscious about it. Don't just pick up your phone and start looking at it. But are there creative things that we could do? Like, you know how cats like don't like to get their paws sticky? Could we do something similar with our phones? Wrap it in like Scotch tape.
Okay.
So it's really unpleasant to pick up.
Okay. Especially for our cats. Who also need to reduce their screen time.
Right.
Yeah, I guess.
For a cat, is screen time just like hanging from the screen door? Because that's what I picture screen time for a cat.
Goosebump does need to reduce that because he does try to hang from the screen in my office window sometimes.
Yeah, that does not surprise me in the least.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this sounds like a good use of someone's time in their life, trying to learn to be, more mindful and stuff like that with their phone. I don't totally see where like the fun of a
the Scotch tape
podcast come
thing
in.
was fun. Just use your imagination.
A little bit fun, but
hide your phone somewhere.
Yeah.
Have a baby.
The baby will take the phone.
The baby will take the phone.
But he's not supposed to have screen time either.
Yeah. He really likes to take selfies, though.
He does. Yeah.
I mean, I can't, and he takes some really cute selfies, so it's really hard to deny him. That's the only thing he can access from my phone when it's locked is the camera. So
Right.
what, dude? You go. Let's give it a shot. How would you reduce your screen time?
I mean, what comes to mind is like getting to the source of it, right? Like, why do you turn to your phone, right?
Yeah.
Because it's easier than being bored for a while. So it would need something to entertain me, I guess.
But it's important to be bored sometimes, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that is true. That's where you come up with a lot of ideas, for example, good ideas for podcasts even, maybe.
Yeah. And this is where I can again say have a baby, because one thing that has made me like learn to sit with my boredom is when I put Rory to bed, I can't be looking at my phone. I'm usually walking around rocking him, which is not terribly exciting for me. And if you have to spend 45 minutes like walking around rocking a baby and nothing else going on, like I've gotten used to like sitting with my thoughts and letting my mind wander, thinking about things in the day, thinking about ideas for the podcast. And I've realized like it is important to be bored sometimes.
I agree. When I've been doing that lately, I've been putting headphones in and listening to something while I rock him.
Yeah.
Which is not following the advice of letting yourself be bored, but it is still worthwhile, like reading a book, listening to an audiobook and stuff like that. It's still worthwhile.
I think it forces you to notice things too. Like I'm very attuned to like what Rory needs in order to fall asleep. I know exactly like what mannerisms mean he's close to falling asleep. And if I lay down with him now and nurse him, he'll probably be out in 5 minutes, as opposed to like, oh no, he needs to be rocked. I think there's something to that. Like it's easy to ignore what's going on with another person if you're busy with something else, like your phone.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that this is a worthwhile idea in your life, and I'm not totally.
But I was hoping you would come up with a fun idea for reducing your screen time.
I'm not. I don't know. It's not coming to me, I guess. Like
cover your phone in jam.
Yeah.
Stick your phone in Jell-O. It will be really messy if you get an important call.
Right. Throw your phone in the sewer. I mean, just get rid of your phone in some way. Or throw your phone off the deck of the ship when you're looking for the Titanic.
I saw an ad for a thing the other day called Brick. Have you seen this?
No. Oh, I mean, I know about bricks. So if it was an ad for bricks, then I knew about that already.
Yeah, just throw a brick at your phone. No, it's a little device that goes on your phone.
Okay.
And you essentially can like brick it at certain times of the day. So like it renders your phone not usable when you like need to focus on something.
Yeah, okay. The problem with that, of course, is that sometimes you need your phone.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need it in unexpected, like when you didn't expect to.
Yeah. I will say, like, there was a time before smartphones, right? So I do think it's interesting how much of it is habit, because I've had to get out of the habit of, like, being on my phone constantly because I'm usually busy with Rory. And so now I will just forget my phone places.
Right.
And I'm not hyper aware of where my phone is all the time anymore. Which is kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean, what's tricky about it is that, of course, people survived for many millennia before phones were invented, let alone smartphones. But at the same time, the world we live in now, it's like, there's a lot of big changes in our society and how it works by everyone having phones all the time.
Yeah.
And not all of those are good, certainly. But, if you were 100 years ago and your mom was in the hospital all of a sudden, you just wouldn't find out about it till the postman got there a week later with the letter about it or something.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah,
there are like very big tangible benefits to having a phone available. It's finding a balance, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I found the Apple Watch actually pretty helpful for that, just because I can leave my phone and I'll still get a notification if
it's something
it's something that I need to get a notification about.
Right.
Like,
so the solution is buy more Apple products.
Like, is there a new Phoenix emoji? Today we learned that Miles texted me and said, "Did you know there's a Phoenix emoji?" And at first I thought you were trolling me. Because it showed up on my Apple Watch as a pigeon head and a fire
fire pigeon,
a fire emoji.
Yeah.
So that is how the Apple Watch dealt with that. I thought it was pretty funny.
That is pretty funny. I think that's typically how the fallback for emojis like works in general. Like Microsoft for a while, I think they might have gotten rid of it, but Microsoft had their own emoji in the emoji set that only Microsoft used, which was a ninja cat. And I think it would, if you were on other things, it would be like a cat and a ninja.
A cat and a
or
ninja.
something
yeah.
like that.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But
you can use like...
It was specifically a pigeon.
Yeah, a pigeon on fire.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, did you know if you set a pigeon on fire, it becomes a phoenix?
Turns into a phoenix. A podcast about emojis.
That could be fun.
Actually, yeah, I'm pretty into it. I enjoy the emojis, and like I'm always excited when there's like new ones in the latest update or whatever.
Yeah. What emoji have you most been excited about recently?
Well, I mean the fire pigeon. I do. I guess I also enjoy combining emojis in fun ways.
Yeah.
What's your favorite emoji?
Well, let's see. So there's the emoji that I use the most, which is the blue heart.
Yeah, I was gonna say we should also talk about people's heart strategies, but let's save that for a minute.
Oh no, probably the skull.
Skull is a good one.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty versatile. I like the clown one as well.
Clown one is pretty useful. I enjoy the unicorn. I enjoy the unicorn emoji. I'm big into unicorns, and that I feel like was added more recently than some of the others. I also quite like the little frog head. It's just like a little frog.
Yeah,
just a little guy.
guy.
The skull, of course, is a good one.
This is good audio. This might be a boring podcast.
Maybe, I don't know. I feel like there's something to emojis. I use the sunglasses guy a lot.
Yeah.
When I'm like, what I just said was cool or whatever. What
should we pick an idea? Because I feel like we've been recording for a while and I think we might want to narrow down now.
Okay. I'm actually into continuing to talk about emojis.
I want to talk about kids' books.
Kids' books.
I was enjoying that discussion.
Okay. Can we talk a little bit more about emojis and then get back to kids' books?
Yes.
I just wanted to talk about, like I said, heart strategies, right? Like you typically use the blue heart.
I have 3 of them usually.
Yeah. Is there a reason why that's your go-to heart?
I just like it. It's what I feel in my heart.
It's a pretty color.
Yeah. I don't feel like I'm cynical enough for the black heart. See, the red heart feels too cheery.
Yeah. Okay. See,
I think the blue is the middle ground for me.
Okay. Because I was thinking the black heart is like a gothy heart, right? Like it's the heart that I feel like my more gothy friends typically use. So I would sort of expect you to use the black heart.
Yeah.
But I do see
I don't feel like I'm fully goth though.
Yeah. I mean, I guess so. And also like, black hearted or whatever is kind of an expression.
Yeah.
And I could see you kind of shying away from it for that reason.
Yeah. So the blue heart, I think that's what it is. The blue heart feels like
it's the light blue heart though, not the dark blue heart.
Yeah, the light blue one. It feels like cheerier than the black heart, but not too cheery.
Right. Not too like traditional heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a traditional heart person.
Right. Now
also, I mean, blood is actually blue, so
no, it's not.
In the body it is.
No, it's not. That's a myth.
Then why are your veins blue?
Because of the way the light scatters through your skin. I was taught this in school when I was a teenager, but it's not true. Blood, when it's oxygenated, I believe is darker red, and it's lighter red when it's deoxygenated, or maybe it's the other way around. But it's not actually blue. It's just the light scattering through your skin makes it look blue.
I see.
And if you think about it, because people say it's blue until it touches oxygen, but if you think about it, whenever you get blood drawn, it goes right into the syringe without touching oxygen, and it's red, right?
Does it not touch any oxygen?
Well, because you empty the syringe, and then by plunging it down, and then you pull it up, there's no oxygen in there, or if there is, it'd be only at the very tip of the red, right? The rest of it would be blue, right? You'd see like a mixture or something if it was actually blue.
Yeah.
However, that's fine because blue is still a pretty color and your veins are blue and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I was going to say as far as my strategy for heart usage, I always use the heart that looks like it's got 3 little lines coming off of each lobe of the heart, I guess, because I think it looks like the heart is twerking.
Yes, you do use that one a lot.
That's the one I always use.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I sometimes respond with that one to you.
Yeah. The one downside of that is that in order to fit the lines into the same space that the other emojis take up, the heart is smaller than the other hearts. Or than the other ones that don't have like extra stuff like that. But
that's just because it's mid-beat.
Because it's mid-beat.
Yeah, it's smaller. It's not full of blood. It's
sure.
Pumping the blood out. heart.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. It's twerking is what it's doing.
Twerking.
Because there's also like the heart with the stars on it and the heart.
Your
where
heart
it's like-
doesn't beat, it twerks.
Right. My heart twerks for you, Valentine. All right. Well, that's all I guess I need to say about emojis right now. If you want to talk more about kids' books.
Yeah. Okay. What's your favorite kids' book? What would the name of our children's book review podcast be?
Yeah, I was going to say we need to...
The Very Hungry Podcast.
The Very Hungry Podcast, Good Night Podcast.
Podcast. What do you see?
Yeah. So just one of the books that we read, Rory, a lot.
Yeah.
Pika Podcast.
The Very Busy Podcast.
Very Busy Podcast. The Very Grumpy Podcast.
The Very Grumpy Podcast.
I do like the Very Hungry Podcast. It's a very... Because that one's one of the more iconic titles, I would say, right?
Yeah.
The Very Hungry Caterpillar. Or what if it was like... Do you know the book... I think it's Alexander and the terrible, no good, very bad day or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? The Alexander and the horrible, terrible, no good, very bad day.
Yeah.
So it could be like Ginger and Miles and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad podcast.
That is a very long podcast
It is a pretty
title.
long title, yeah.
I think that's a bit too long.
A bit too long, yeah. The Very Hungry Podcast is not too bad, I guess.
We could put a pin in it.
Yeah.
See if we think of anything else. What's your favorite kids book?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or current favorite?
Yeah, it's my sort of the brain space taken up by kids books for me right now is only whatever we're reading to Rory regularly, right? So there probably are ones I've read that could be on the list that I like that I just am not thinking of, but I don't know. Actually, my favorite kids book is probably The Cat in the Hat.
Yeah.
I enjoy Dr. Seuss because he actually is good.
You like speed reading that one.
I do, and he actually is good at a good meter and a good like flow to his.
Don't let the pigeon drive the bus too.
Don't let the pigeon. Yeah, there's a number of those pigeon books that are pretty good.
Yeah.
There's one about like don't let the pigeon eat the hot dog or something like that. And
what's your favorite Dr. Seuss aside The Cat in the Hat?
I don't know, maybe Green Eggs and Ham or I don't know. I'd have to think about it more because
I liked Hop on Pop a lot as a kid.
Hop on Pop. I remember Hop on Pop, but I don't remember how it actually goes. Like, I mean, I could recite pretty much most of The Cat in the Hat, and I could tell you more or less what happens in Green Eggs and Ham.
What about The Cat in the Hat Comes Back? How do you feel about that one?
Oh, I didn't even know that. I don't think I've ever read
Really?
that. Yeah.
You're such a fan, but you've never...
No, I've never even heard of that, actually.
Really?
Yeah, no, I don't know if that's a thing. Is that an actual Dr. Seuss?
Yeah. I had it as a kid. Yeah. The Cat in the Hat Comes Back. Unless I totally made that up. Now I'm like, now I got to fact check myself. Let me see. The Cat in the Hat Comes Back.
Because I feel like there's a lot of books that are sort of like marketed as being in the same like series and have similar art, but aren't actually by Dr. Seuss.
Here's a copy on eBay for $1,200.
Whoa.
Must be like first edition or something. But yeah, the Cat in the Hat Comes Back. He's wearing skis.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that before.
I definitely had it as a kid.
There's the one about the star.
There's a whole world available to you that you didn't even know about.
Yeah, I
so
guess
you're
so.
welcome.
I guess so. There's the one about the star-bellied Sneetches. You know that one? I can't remember what it's called, though.
Isn't that Horton Hears a Who?
No, that's about the Who's.
I thought that there were star-bellied Sneetches in that.
I'm pretty sure it's a different one.
Star-bellied. Oh, it's just called The Sneetches and Other Stories.
Okay.
Yeah, Horton Hears a Who was a good one.
Yeah.
What's your least favorite Dr. Seuss book?
I don't know that I have one.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like The Cat in the Hat, and I've read Green Eggs and Ham quite a few times as well. I guess I haven't dug that deep into the Seuss-verse.
Seuss catalog.
Or whatever, yeah.
I feel like All the Places You'll Go is a bit overrated.
Yeah, that's true. I have read that one. I don't feel like I super love that one. Doesn't he have some that have like kind of racist depictions of Chinese people or something like that? I don't think I've actually read those ones, but...
Oh, what about Yertle the Turtle?
Yertle the Turtle. That's
a good one.
Doesn't that one have like turtles like stacked on each other or something?
Yeah, they try to like stack turtles up. It's like a very Tower of Babel situation.
Yeah, or I was thinking it's very turtles all the way down.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Fox and Socks was another one I liked. The Lorax, of course.
Right.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
The Grinch is fine, yeah. Is that a book or just the movie?
No, that's a book.
Yeah. I don't know if I've read the book or not.
It's got a pretty great cover. That's the cover.
Right, yeah. One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. I do remember that one.
Yeah, there's an ABC one. Oh, and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. I think I had that one as a kid as well.
Sounds kind of familiar.
I know what one of my favorites was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
There's a Walk-It in My Pocket.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Oh, you don't know There's a Walk-It in My Pocket?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, it's a great one. This is the cover.
Yeah, I don't recognize that.
Like there's a yurtin behind the curtain. It's like all these things around the house that he's like interested in and,
that just rhyme
and
with
scared
something.
of. Yeah, they're just nonsense things. Like there's a part where he says the only one I'm really scared of is that Zug under the rug, and he's like tiptoeing by this rug, and there's just this giant bump under the rug. Yeah.
I think what I like about The Cat in the Hat specifically, and I'm not sure how much this applies to his other books. I think it applies to Green Eggs and Ham as well. But The Cat in the Hat is written only using words, if I'm not mistaken, only using words from the top like 50 or 100 most commonly used words in English. So it has this kind of like constraint to it because it's for children, right? It's for learning to read. And so that was the idea, was like, we're only going to use words that are, easy, common words, basically.
Right.
But with that, he's able to make this, ridiculous thing. And I guess I really appreciate the attention to the flow, right? The reading it is fun because it's da 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 da. It's like it goes. I mean, there's some parts that break the meter in The Cat in the Hat. Look at me now, right? It is fun to have fun, but you have to know how, right?
Of course.
It is fun to have fun, but you have to know how is anapestic tetrameter again. But the look at me now is not, right? Like it breaks it sometimes, and that's fine. I don't like those parts as much. I really like just being able to read the right through it. Like it's just fun for me to be like,
Yes. You don't slow down either when you read it to our son. Maybe you should once in a while.
I don't know. He doesn't understand it regardless, so...
Well,
and he also barely likes reading that one, so I haven't read it to him very much.
That's fair. But he won't learn the words if he can't hear you say them. Okay, Cat in the Hat aside, because obviously that's your absolute favorite. What, besides pentameter, what are some other qualities you look for in a kid's book?
It doesn't specifically have to be 5 whatevers in a line, but...
Okay,
yeah.
I was using it as a shorthand for...
Yeah, meter.
Meter, yes.
The things I look for in a kid's book is the art good or fun or funny or whatever, and is it enjoyable for me to read out loud, right? Those are the main things.
Yeah.
And Dr. Seuss typically has both of those. Like, his art style's not good, really, but it's unique and funny, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the art.
Yeah, it's not it's not technically impressive or anything, I guess. It's just a cartoonish stylized way of drawing, which is fine. Totally fine. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying there's nothing terribly impressive about it, but it works for what it's supposed to do, right?
Right. I appreciate books that have songs in them because they do keep Rory's attention pretty well, I've noticed. Well, I mean, that's just the thing with babies in general. They pay attention when you sing.
Yeah. Are you thinking of the truck, Jeep one or whatever it is?
Actually, I don't enjoy that one.
I don't really
I always get it wrong. I always lose track of where I am in the song just because you're looping it. Okay, so that book is a book that is called Car, Truck, Jeep, but you sing it to the tune of Baba Black Sheep.
Right.
And I obviously know Baba Black Sheep, but... it's very easy to lose track of where I am in the song when you're repeating it over
when you get to the next page, yeah. Because Baba Black Sheep,
it over and over.
Baba Black Sheep has 2 parts, right? It's like da 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 da.
Also, there's parts of that book where it's like they tried to cram in an extra syllable. It didn't quite work.
Right. Yeah, they don't do a perfect job of matching the meter of that one. So see, you complain about the meter being bad too.
Well, I am complaining about it's really annoying when somebody when you try to cram an extra syllable into a song that's not meant for that many syllables.
Right. But and songs are just poetic meter on steroids, basically, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm not talking about scansion or anything like that.
You are, but it's fine. So what songs were you thinking
Don't
of?
correct me if I'm wrong.
What books were you thinking of?
Never correct me.
Okay. What were you thinking of though?
Well, Brown Bear, what do you see? You can kind of sing.
Mm-hmm.
Brown Bear, what do you see? I guess that's Baba Black Sheep.
Baba Black Sheep as
But
well, yeah.
It's a little bit easier to sing for that book for some reason. I don't know.
Maybe
because I've heard Miss Rachel do it a few times.
Well, and maybe because if you do that, you only do one part of Baba Black Sheep.
Yeah.
You don't do the like bridge or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what you call it, but the second part.
Yeah. We could also review children's songs.
Right.
Yeah, that could be a podcast.
Yeah, we've definitely talked about stuff along those lines, but what is your least favorite book that we've been reading, Rory, typically?
Maybe the Peekaboo book, just because it's so short.
He does like to read that over and over and over again.
It's so short, and it's so hard to make it interesting because there's not much to it.
Right. It's called Pika Who,
and
every page you turn is like Pika.
There's a cow, it's Peekamoo. There's a ghost, it's Peekaboo. There's a zoo, it's Peekazoo. And then at the end, there's a mirror that's Peekayou.
You forgot the train, Pika Choo Choo.
Sorry, I forgot Pikachu Choo. How could I?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a boring book.
Yeah. I like that one because I like the art and I like the way that the little windows between the parts look. I don't know. There's something aesthetically I kind of like about it. But he does want to read it over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
It lacks repeated readability.
Yeah. Well,
sure.
It doesn't lack it. It just lacks repeating forever.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can read it 2 or 3 times and it's fine, but like 10 times in, it gets a little bit tiring.
Yeah. And I really like when I can make parts of a book interesting and fun because I just kind of delight in delighting him.
Right. And he loves it. He loves it when there's like a part that's always like a certain way.
Yeah.
And he gets like to anticipate it.
Yeah. And I can't really do that with that book so much.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
There's not really any parts that are different, really.
Yeah.
Right? They're all kind of the same.
Yeah.
Should we talk about some of those parts? Like he loves it in The Very Hungry Caterpillar at the second to last page where he wasn't hungry anymore and he wasn't a little caterpillar anymore.
I do.
It was a big fat caterpillar.
Yeah, it was a big fat caterpillar, and I tickle him.
Tickle him a little bit.
He loves that.
He somewhat likes the beautiful butterfly at the end as well.
Yeah, he was a beautiful butterfly. And when he flapped the wings.
Yeah, and he loves in the night bedtime for Zoe book that we have.
The towel.
The towel is so cozy because we always give him a hug at that part. Yeah.
Yeah, so I like books where you can add those little details. I try to do that with most of his books. I used to do that with my little sister too, and it's just I think it makes them engage with reading a little bit better.
You know what's a kid's book that I really like that we don't have? I had it with Svetlana, and there's a few books actually by the same guy, and I can't remember his name, but it's Where's My Hat? Have you read that one?
Where's My Hat? No.
So there's a bear and he's looking for his hat. He's got a red, like a pointy gnome hat, basically a red pointy hat. And he's looking for his hat and he goes around and somebody stole his hat. And I don't even remember who it is exactly, but at the end, like it was a rabbit, I think. And the rabbit's like, oh, this is a different hat. This is my hat. And like at the end, like the rabbit's gone and the bear's got his hat back. And it's like sort of implied that he ate the rabbit or something. I don't know.
Oh,
or stomped him or something. I don't know.
Okay.
It's like
I do enjoy children's books that like are a little bit dark.
Have a little bit of a dark edge to them. Yeah.
Where's My Hat? We'll have to look for that one.
There's another one by the same guy, which is also called Where's My Hat, or it's something similar. There's a little fish that stole a tiny hat off a big fish.
Is it this one? I Want My Hat Back?
Yes, I Want My Hat Back. That's what it is. Maybe the other one's called Where's My Hat. Look at that guy's other books. That same author's other books.
Oh, he's got this. So I Want My Hat Back is book 1 of the Hat trilogy.
Okay.
So we've got I Want My Hat Back, and then we've got This Is Not My Hat, and We Found a Hat.
Okay, This Is Not My Hat must be the fish one.
That's the fish one.
This Is Not My Hat.
We Found a Hat is 2 turtles staring at a cowboy hat.
Interesting. I haven't read that one. We should probably get the whole trilogy.
Yeah.
So I Want My Hat Back is a bear looking for his hat and then a bunny stole it. The second one is from the perspective of the thief. So there's a little fish, there's a big fish sleeping, and he's wearing a tiny hat, a tiny like bowler hat or something. And the little fish has stolen it, and he's like, "This is not my hat," but he shouldn't have worn that hat because it was too small for him, and it fits me better, and he'll never find me. And like basically like trying to justify having stolen the hat. And like he swims into the little hat like swims into the seaweed thinking he's going to get away. And then like at the end of the book, like the big fish swims out of the seaweed and has his hat back or something like that.
We found a hat for some reason is more expensive than the first two. So I guess they reel you in with the first two, and then they're like, now you got to pay $17 to find out how it ends.
Yeah. I don't think they're actually, well, I don't know, maybe the third one ties them together somehow, but the first two aren't related other than by, thematically.
Yeah.
The art style's
the
very good.
The problem that I do see with this podcast is I've already bought like $50 worth of books today.
Right.
All right, we got any more to say about books?
Did we say what your least favorite book was? Did you have one?
I said Peek-a-Who.
Oh, Peek-a-Who, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in general, like simplistic books so that where there's not a lot to them.
Mm-hmm. What was your favorite one?
The Grouchy Ladybug is up
Ladybug.
there. It's very hard for me to pick favorite books, but I do love The Grouchy Ladybug a lot.
Yeah, okay. There's, of course, books like Goodnight Moon that everybody knows, which I've got memorized by now. Oh, another book that I've memorized that he likes a lot is our Monster ABCs.
Monster ABCs. Yeah, actually, all of the books by that press are, I think it's Hazydell Press.
Yeah.
It's a place out of Seattle. They've got Monster ABCs. They've got Hush Now Banshee. Our friend Jenny bought him the whole set for his first birthday. There is, there's Goodnight Krampus.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are all really fun.
Yeah. He really likes the ABCs one, though.
Yeah.
A is for alien from way out of town. B is for banshee who won't quiet down. C
I
is for
definitely
chupacabra
have
with a lot to
that
digest.
whole book
D is for demon who
memorized.
can be such a pest. E is for enchantress with power so grand. F is for Frankenstein.
You're going to get us a
monster.
copyright strike.
Yeah. That's not how that works, but yeah. Anyway, I've got that book
correct
memorized.
me. Ever.
That book, and and the art style on those is good, and it's kind of fun to read. That's another one where the meter breaks down in a lot of points, and it's sort of annoying when reading it out loud, but they're at least trying most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, when you picked Chupacabra as your C monster, it's hard to fit that into a line.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Well, I guess we've said enough about books. Should we do our social media real quick?
Yeah, so you can find all of our links to all of our social media on our website, which is coolpodcast.website. You can email us at ideas@coolpodcast.website. Please send us your ideas. We want to talk about them. We don't just want to talk about our dumb ideas. And do you want to talk about reels? The reels that you've been making?
Yeah, the podcast is on YouTube, and I've also been creating little shorts and reels or whatever you want to call them that are little clips from the podcast with animations to go with them. And so those are fun, and you can check those out.
Follow us on Instagram so you don't miss those, and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also find them there. That's it. That's all I got.
Welcome to What Should Our Outro Be About? The outro where we try to figure out what this outro that you're listening to right now should be about. I'm still here.
And I'm also still here.
I had an idea that I didn't bring up earlier because it's along the same lines as other stuff, and it's maybe even dumber, which is a podcast where we talk about shower thoughts while we take a shower on the podcast.
All right, so we got to get some waterproof microphones.
Well, we could just kind of have it outside, maybe the shower.
Just shout outside the shower curtain.
Yeah. So I was thinking for the outro, we could just have like the sound of the shower.
All right.
I don't know. Just some white noise to help you drift off to sleep if you're listening to this podcast before bed, and hopefully not if you're driving. Do you have
Is that a boring podcast?
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
We do a normal outro, but with helium voices.
Okay, but we don't have any more helium.
We do, actually. I found another balloon.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Okay, but what is a normal outro?
We say our normal outro stuff, but in helium voices. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, and all that stuff. Okay, so we just kind of finish up. All right, well, where's the balloon?
It is downstairs.
All right, let's get a little bit of Mylar balloon ASMR. All right, now we're gonna cut it open and take a hit.
Oh, they're gonna hear the whole process.
Yep.
You're gonna take a hit, huh?
Take a hit off the balloon.
Off the sweet, sweet helium.
All right, do I sound different? Oh, I do sound different. Yep. How about me? Do I?
Yep, you do.
Yeah.
You sound like munchkins or
I
whatever.
sound like a munchkin.
All right. Well, it's wearing off, I think. All right. Well, thanks for listening. We're sorry and we won't do better next time.
Bye.
Bye.
What was that podcast about? I'm trying to figure it out. Didn't catch what that was about.